Hey guys, what's up? My name is Art. Welcome back for another video. Today's video is about what I call selective outrage. Basically, what that means is that, in my opinion, selective outrage is when things happen that only you care about, but it happens everywhere else and you just like, no big deal. I'm pretty sure you heard about Mr. Potato Head. The company decided to drop the Mr. from Mr. Potato Head just to be socially conscious, and people flipped out. The question I have for you is, when's the last time you gave a damn about Mr. Potato Head? The last time I gave a damn about Mr. Potato Head, I was like maybe 10 years old, maybe, if that. I've never seen my niece with a Mrs. Potato Head. Never seen any kids with a Mr. Potato Head in years. Now people care about it? Or was it a good marketing ploy to get people to buy it? Sounds fishy to me. Now that I heard rumors that they're not going to change it. Okay. Dr. Seuss. I heard some schools are going to ban some of Dr. Seuss books because of the imagery is potentially racist or racially inappropriate. Now the funny thing is that the problem is sometimes back in the day, way back in the day during Dr. Seuss, that's how they depicted Asians and people of color. They with exaggerated expression. They expressed that. They did that normally. Was it okay back then? No, it wasn't okay back then, but guess what? But no one was powerful to stop it. Matter of fact, like in Dick Tracy, if you look at the old Dick Tracy comics, if you could find them, they typically display that old depiction of black people with the big exaggerated lips, like this big and super super dark and super big ass lips like this. Was that culturally acceptable? No, it wasn't. But guess what? No one was had powerful. No one's powerful. We was powerless to stop that. We can complain about it and say, well, fuck it. They're like, fuck you. That's how we're going to do it. Live with it. Matter of fact, if you think about this, the Shazam movie, if you ever saw that one, which is a pretty good movie, they was going to release a set of Shazam comic books from the 40s and 50s and 60s. And had one. It was one of his better storylines with the worm creature. Well, I forgot the name of that worm creature, but what happened? It depicted people in that kind of stereotype. They didn't want that, and what happened? DC is like, no, we're not going to release this because people won't get upset about it, and they kept it around. They kept it away. They didn't re-release it, which is a culturally and socially acceptable thing to do. And the funny thing is that the people who own Dr. Seuss, they decided to do that on their own, and guess what? People are flipping out about it. People are flipping out. Why are you flipping out on Dr. Seuss? The last time I read a Dr. Seuss book, I was maybe 10 years old, and I was teaching my 4-year-old brother how to read. That was it. Other than that, I didn't think about Dr. Seuss. How many Dr. Seuss books are in your house? Probably none, because you don't think about it. Now, guess what? It's an outrage over what? Okay, same thing with Gina Carano. When you go into see what happened when that happened, you don't know the full story. Now details of the story start leaking out. Her political views pissing people off in Lucasfilm. Some of the writers, directors, and stuff like that, her viewpoints was pissing people off. Kathleen Kennedy, the person who runs Lucasfilms, even though she has a very limited capacity of doing things right now, she didn't like Gina Carano. The only person who was in Gina Carano's corner was Jon Favreau. That was it, and maybe a few other, but pretty much most of Lucasfilms wasn't into her. They didn't want her around. And when this stuff like that happens, after a while, Disney says, sorry. You post too many posts. I know it is your freedom of speech. You can do whatever you want, but it doesn't stop you from the consequences of it. Doesn't stop you of the consequences. See, there's a cost to our freedoms. People forget there are costs to our freedoms. There's a cost to it. Did you know that any business, company, they have every right to monitor your social media post? They do. Because what you say or might do might damage their image. So that's why they can do it at any time. Whether they want, sometimes they don't need your permission. And that's a conservative viewpoint because maintaining the company image is more important than what you're actually saying. So Disney says, we don't want the controversy. Go on. But the problem was Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm they kept it quiet. They said, you're fired. Instead of just giving her a big speech or whatever. No, they still haven't done it yet. But I can understand why they're outraged at that. But then again, let's take another example. Colin Kaepernick. He used his freedom of speech. It pissed a lot of people off. NFL said, we can't hand this shit anymore. People want to boycott the NFL because of what you're doing. Stop doing that. And he kept doing it anyway. It doesn't matter if he was a third string, first string quarterback. Hell, this funny thing is that he's one of the very few quarterbacks who's quote unquote third string who actually went to the Super Bowl and led in the Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford of the Detroit Lions, well, he's not a Detroit Lion anymore. Back in the day, he was considered the better quarterback, and the third string quarterback that we had in Detroit Lions was better than him. Go figure. But anyway. But the funny thing is, when Colin Kaepernick was fired, they instead of saying we all know the real reason why he was fired. It wasn't because he's a third string quarterback. It was because he used his freedom of speech. The consequences of his freedom of speech was he get booted. Where's the outrage on that? There's no outrage. There's outrage in certain other and certain other ethnicities, like myself, saying, "Hey, you shouldn't fire him for his freedom of speech." But what happened was, then I realized the conservative mindset is that a company, agency, or entity can do whatever it wants. If they find something that is going to tarnish their image, they have every right to get rid of it. And that was fine. Which also brings me to one more incident. In 2017, there was an Indonesian artist. Now, the funny thing is, most people, this flew well under the radar. But if you're a comic book fan like me, you know about this. There was a comic book called X-Men Go back in the day, 4 years ago. It's not being published right now. The first two issues, this Indonesian artist, who's Muslim, put patches of the Quran in the X-Men comic book. Strange. Funny thing is, out of all the X-Men characters, there's only one confirmed Muslim. Her name was Dusk. Dust or Dusk, one of those two. And she wears a shari, so she's always covered, so you don't know what she really looks like. But why is Colossus wearing a t-shirt with the patches of the Quran on it? That didn't make sense. Colossus is not Muslim. He's not. That doesn't make sense. He put that full in plain view, which didn't make sense to anybody. Then all of a sudden, Kitty Pryde, who's Jewish, she's standing on the word jewelry, and the funny thing is, the word Jew, the first part of it is the word Jew was right underneath hers, and it was blatantly obvious. And then again, he put a lot of things in there were against, intolerance of Christians and shit like that. So, you know what they did? They shit canned the guy and reprinted it. I do have a copy of it. Can't remember where I put it, but I do have a copy of it somewhere in my stack of books. And the funny thing is that other people look at him and say, well, he deserved it because he did all that shit. That was dumb of him. That was dumb. He deserved that. People say about Colin Kaepernick, you're dumb because you got fired for your freedom of speech. You deserve that. But the funny thing is, how come people don't say that about Gina Carano? In my opinion, Gina Carano, you're dumb. You deserve to get fired because that's what you decided to do after they asked you not to do it. Simple as that. But the funny thing is, when it happens to other people or other situations, people are silent because guess why? It doesn't involve you. It doesn't involve what you feel or what you believe. Other than that, that's it for my video for today. I know I said a lot of dumb shit today, and I always say a lot of dumb shit. And hopefully this don't be age restricted. It might. If it does, you know why. But hopefully I get to do something more stuff. And I'm taking a little break from my job right now. I am working on a Saturday and I'm taking a break. I'm allowed one 15-minute break, and this video is like 10 minutes long, so it's almost 11 minutes. So I got 4 more minutes. I could either fill this up for 4 more minutes, or I could just say, yeah, let's stop this video and let me get back to work. So that's what I'm going to do. I want you to have a great day, have a better day, and treat everybody as best ways you can. Because it's how you want to be treated, right? All right, talk to you later.